All right, so let's talk about agency deliverables versus results, and a really good lesson I learned in my 20s selling pest control in California. So when I was selling in California, it was hot. It was 4 months of selling, right? And my goal was to be the number one new salesman in the office. So that meant I needed to hit 200 sales. Well, that was my goal, to hit 200 sales. That was a pretty good goal for pest control for that summer. And so we went to work. So over the first few months, right, I'm learning, get my bearings, da da da. Well, so me and my sales partner, we kind of figured a few things out, right? So, first was people were not home until 6, right? People aren't home till 6. So if you go out at 2 or at 12, you might get a sale if you're lucky, but you're going to get way more done in the after hours, right? In that 6 to 8 o'clock. Okay. And number 2 was, since we were a small office, we could pretty much pick anywhere we wanted to go. And there was this city about an hour north of us that it was like all new construction. And where the new construction was, everyone had bug problems, right? So much easier to get the sales in those neighborhoods. So we kind of started adjusting this, and as the summer went on, it got hotter and it got hotter and it got worse and worse. Right? So we would just start going back to the apartment after our meeting at 11 with the whole office, and we would stay there until like 3 or 4, go get like a lunch, right? Or a early dinner. And then we would head up, start hitting the doors at like 5:30 in this city. And after we would get 2, 3, 4 sales, it was usually around 8, we'd go back and do it again tomorrow, right? So, then we had these, so that was what we did. Now we had these 2 guys, right, that were they were not getting any sales really at all, right? And so the owner makes this rule. He says, if you want to keep getting free rent, mind you, we're about halfway through the summer at this point. If you want to keep getting free rent, then you need to be out on the doors for 6 hours a day, Monday through Saturday, right? That was the rule he made, rule he created. So, and I'm, in my mind, I'm like, he's not making this rule for me, right? So I can safely ignore this. So these guys that we're with, they go full deliverables, letter of the law. This is the rule. We are going to follow it, right? Because that's how they kind of are. So they get up early. They go out at like 8 a.m. They go hit the doors for 3 hours. They go to the meeting at 11. They go back out at like 12. And they hit the doors for 3 more hours, and they're getting home every day. They're getting home and being done. No sales. They're not even trying to get sales, basically, at this point. They probably are avoiding talking to anybody as much as they possibly can. They're getting home around 3, 3:30, right when we're just kind of getting ready to leave. So we're kind of switching. We kind of have a couple minutes with them. Well, so this goes on for a while, right? And we're hanging out one Saturday night, with some people, whatever, just kind of doing our thing with the whole apartment that we live in with them. And they start talking about how we're so dishonest and how could we do that? We're not following the rules. They should rat us out to the owner, right? And they're just going on and on about how amazing they are and how they follow the rules and they're good and we're not. We're the bad guys. And I am not one to typically back down from confrontation. So I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, this is a sales job. You think that the guy who owns the business is happier with you guys over like us? Like, we're getting sales. Like, do you think he cares if I go out for 15 minutes and get sales if you go out all day, 12 hours a day, and you're not getting sales? Like, you think that matters? Like, you think he made that rule for us? Like, he made the rule for you to try to get you guys to get some sales, and you even found a way to exploit that so you didn't have to actually do anything, right? So, needless to say, I think they were a little shocked, but it taught me this lesson that I've really used throughout the rest of my life, which is like, your deliverables, they don't matter. All that matters in the end is results. And so this takes me to agencies and how agencies run. And all these agencies, they just start to get so big that all they can do is give you deliverables. They can't look for creative new ways. They're slow to adjust. We always talk about the big ship, right? It's hard to turn the big ship, right? But small ships can turn quick. So, and in marketing, I think there's a lot that can be done with creativity and with results-based thinking, not deliverables, right? So, that just brings me to like one of the clients this month. We're about to launch a press release for them because after learning about their business, they have this amazing story that I think is newsworthy. And if that works, it's going to make us give us tens of thousands of dollars worth of free backlinks, right? That you would never get from anywhere else. So I think it's important to be results-based, let some creativity in, and look for ways in your business to get results and not just check boxes. As I always say, SEO is not about checking boxes. It's not data entry. It's digital surgery, right? And you're going to get, and you should be looking for results, not to be on the doors for 6 hours, right? So I think that's a good lesson. Be results focused. That's how you win. Let creativity in. Think creatively, and you can find ways to hit home runs. So that's my story for today. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll see you tomorrow.